Corvette.
I've been so cold that I don't feel it all. Scarred up inside, so I built all these walls. My head rolling back, but I'm faking the rush. Out every night and I'm lonely as fuck. I make my own in my own place. Got no hope for no man. That's no way. That's no way.
And for those Corvette fans out there who have a keen eye, you may notice this is not just any regular Corvette. This is a 2002 Corvette Z06. The first time the Z06 has shown its face since the C2 series. I was raised in a Corvette loving household. My stepmom loved Corvettes, and so you'll never guess who I bought this one from. I'm the third owner, and it's in pristine condition. It's got, let's just see how many right now, 36,273 original miles. Original miles. That's nothing. That's brand new. That's barely broken in. So that's fine by me. I'm the third owner. My stepmom was the previous owner, and before that it was some guy who let it sit out in his garage or his barn or something. It was a literal barn find, I think. So my stepmom bought it, put in the love it needed to get it running top notch again, and well, here I am. When the engineers were designing the C5, they were coming out of a piss poor sales record with the C4. Maybe it had something to do with the shitty way it looked. Maybe it had something to do with the lackluster performance. It's anyone's guess. But at any rate, the sales were not hot. So they designed a Corvette that could be attainable by anybody. A cheap, light, stripped out base model Corvette called the fixed roof coupe. So when they unveiled the original C5 with the fastback coupe, this was supposed to be the cheaper version so it would sell. But guess what? The fastback coupe sold like freaking hot pancakes. It went nuts. And so they sold the original fixed roof coupe without any specialty performance stuff for I think a year, maybe 2 years, when they decided, what's the sense in selling a cheaper Corvette when people are buying the shit out of the really nice one, the expensive one, the top tier one? So what do you do when you have the stiffest, lightest, and most stripped out Corvette that's ever been designed? You make a Z06, and that's exactly what they did. The Z06 namesake comes from back in the early days of Corvettes, back at the C2 Corvette. As they were designing the C2 Stingray, the Sports Car Club of America decreed no factory-sponsored sports cars were allowed to race in their competitions anymore. But Chevrolet knew, and the Corvette designers knew, people weren't going to stop racing Corvettes. They were just too good. And so what they did is just unveiled a new tier of high-performance Corvettes called the Z06 package, and thus the Z06 was born. So this car as it sits right now will do 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds if you play your cards right, which, let's be honest, not all of us can do it. And according to official statistics, it'll do a quarter mile in just over 12 seconds. Some people have thrown drag radials and done a chip tune and got these bad boys into a 10-second quarter mile. That's how badass they are. But this car isn't just supposed to be for the straight line. This car is a 50-50 weight distribution. They threw the transmission in the rear and said, all right, let's get this thing able to handle in the corners and really compete with the supercars that were really starting to show around that time. And because of the work they did, it still competes nowadays. But just because it's so powerful doesn't mean you can't drive it. I mean, you can drive it, but as a daily driver, which is how I use this car, it floats like a breeze. It's comfortable, it's quiet when you want it to be, and there's power on tap to have a little fun when you want it. It gets great gas mileage if you're not lead-footed like me. People have gotten upwards of 25, 30 on the highway and low 20s in the city, and that's fine by me for almost 6-liter V8. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, this car is not perfect. It's a blast, and it's a great budget, dare I say, supercar, because it can compete with the rest, but there's definitely noticeable quirks to it. The rear end has no traction whatsoever. Even with the traction control on, even with sticky hot tires, that thing slips, bounces, is all over the road. I joke a little bit, but it's honestly almost serious that when you're racing, even with the traction control on, you need 2 lanes to drive it, otherwise you risk bumping into somebody. If you've got the traction control off, you're gonna need 3 lanes. No legs, just arms, just arms.
I don't